Good evening and welcome to this special show. We come to you from Hyderabad Central University. There has been a beehive of activity, a lot of protests, a lot of politics being spoken here, and a lot of pain that has been expressed by everyone here. Before we go to our panel of students and faculty here, I would in fact want to recap what happened through the day. Union HRD Minister Smriti Irani in fact in a sense countered what had been happening, speaking out for the first time after the very tragic death of 26-year-old Vemula Rohit on Sunday in a hostel room on this very campus. Smriti Irani sought to say that the facts in fact had been misrepresented. She also said that this entire issue was being made out to be a Dalit versus non-Dalit, and she believes that is far away from the truth. Smriti Irani also says that the 85-page report to be given by our fact-finding committee that she had sent across here, and that was in fact met with a very hostile reception on this very campus grounds, that is going to come tonight, and we will perhaps have to await what are the contents of that two-member fact-finding report. In fact, the Vice-Chancellor, who has been very much part of the news and spoken about the center of this entire controversy as well, we met with the Hyderabad Central University Vice-Chancellor, Professor Apparao, this morning, and he in fact said that there had been no political pressure at all on him. Yes, there were reminders, but he had not paid any heed to those reminders. He had in fact sought to reduce the so-called punishment that was imposed on these students. Did the Vice-Chancellor of Hyderabad Central University come under pressure? I have with me Professor Apparao. Did those reminders from the HRD or the letter of the Union Minister of State for Labour act as pressure on you to take action on these students?
No, those letters have never been taken as pressure. We have seen them as routine letters that have come, and I have marked it to the concerned section to keep it.
And you did not get any phone calls from the ministers either, anytime?
There was no phone call from either of the ministers, or not even from the officials from the MHRD.
Then how come the report of the earlier report, which seemed to have suggested that they are not guilty, was in a sense overturned, there was a U-turn, and the students were subsequently punished?
No, the earlier report was only an interim report, and this is the punishment was given on final report, and which was also revoked under a condition, and that condition, in the process of fulfilling that condition, we have constituted one committee that could not function, and then we have constituted another statutory committee, which we call it as EC subcommittee, and the recommendations of the EC subcommittee were taken to the full executive council, and there it was decided the punishment be mellowed down and to be lenient on the students because they happen to be from marginalized communities.
You were, you said, reluctant in a sense to act against these students because you didn't want to jeopardize their future. What was the reason? Did you feel that they were not guilty?
It is not because they are feeling guilty, being part of the act or not has been judged by the proctorial board. The punishment part was the one which we were examining, and punishment, giving a semester punishment expulsion would deprive them of a scholarship for them to continue PhD. And I don't want the boys who have come from such backgrounds to lose an opportunity to continue their PhD. The students who are protesting, they are all my students, and to all those students I appeal, as I have appealed yesterday on my website, and I have appealed before. Every time I appeal, our university has a distinct character, and please consider and please understand and please respect that distinct character that the university has.
This place is in fact buzzing with activity. Meetings are going on and very strong reactions in fact coming into the HRD minister's press conference as well. In the center of this entire controversy, also two major political figures. One, of course, the Union Minister of State for Labour, Bandaru Dattatreya, who wrote the letter in August last year claiming that the Ambedkar Students Union was in fact, association was in fact, he called them in fact anti-national, he called them extremists, and he said that they are casteist forces. And it is that letter that is said to have triggered a series of reminders from the HRD ministry to the varsity that the students believe led to action against them, suspension of those students as well. An FIR has been registered. We in fact met with BJP MLC Ramchandra Rao, who is in fact one of the accused number 3 in that particular FIR, in which they say that he has abetted the suicide of Rohit, and also said that a case has been booked under the SC/ST Atrocities Act. I have in fact with me the BJP MLC, who's been named as one of the accused in the FIR. You have been accused of abetment to suicide and also under the SC/ST Atrocities Act. What is your comment on that?
Definitely there is no abatement and there is no act or deed by which the provisions of section SC and the SC Act could be attracted to us. It is purely a politically motivated FIR against us.
Why do you call it politically motivated?
Yes, it is politically motivated because the FIR, the facts are very clear. When the suicide note is very clear that no one is responsible for the suicide, how can the abatement come? And the SC/ST Act, where the words and deeds are acts of any humiliating to any caste belonging to that particular community, is there. But no such acts, so no such words are spoken or had been never been attributed to this community. So therefore, the FIR itself is a baseless FIR, and therefore, it is the act of registering FIR is a political vendetta on the BJP.
You have been accused of exerting pressure on the Vice Chancellor, maybe meeting him. Did you also meet with the present Vice Chancellor? The Vice Chancellor who was in position at that time was another Mr. Sharma. You did meet with him after the incident of alleged assault.
After the 2 or 3 days of the incident, when I visited the hospital when the Sushil Kumar was admitted due to the assault by these people, then I visited the Central Institute Vice Chancellor, Mr. R.P. Sharma, where I was told that the boy's mother was crying there before him. So I went to console the mother of this boy and to inquire with the registrar and Vice Chancellor as to what really happened there and what is the action or what is the inquiry they are going to do over this. Except this, no pressure has been exerted by me or by my party at any point of time.
I have with me here a panel from the teachers, the student representatives, the Joint Action Committee, and also some students, in fact, who have no affiliation with any political body but feel strongly enough to have actually virtually spent the last 48 hours right here on the campus itself. I'm first going to take some quick reactions on Smriti Irani's press conference. She said that this is not really a Dalit versus non-Dalit issue. And she also said, what did it make a difference whether Rohit was really a Dalit student or otherwise?
Not at all. Like we stand on the point that Rohit is a Dalit, and he can claim any of his mother or father's caste. And this is a Dalit movement which is converging to the students' movement, fighting against right-wing Hindutva forces, which is very strong in and outside the state as well as in the country. So the MHRD's ministers come and we strongly condemn on that.
The Teachers Association, I'm going to go to Mr. Thirumal. You believe that what the statements that the HRD minister has made, your association is in fact come out with a statement saying that all of you condemning that want to actually give up your administrative posts.
I'm actually the General Secretary of VUTA, but I was listening to the SC/ST Teachers Forum, and they called it baseless and misleading. What Smriti Irani was actually saying for a number of reasons, and one of the reasons is there has been no Dalit teacher in the Executive Council since its inception. The person who was co-opted as Dalit faculty was co-opted in a notional manner, and he was not a full member of the council, which made the decision to punish the students. And blaming the Dalits for Dalit officers for committing this particular incident seems to be very unfortunate, because she nowhere says that the Vice Chancellor, who has been missing from the campus for several days, and as VUTA has taken a decision in the morning, the first thing that if you want is to talk to the students, we can only talk to the students only if you come to the campus. If you do not come to the campus, if you do not start the administrative activities, if you do not, how can we ensure academic activities? So this is a plea we made to the Vice Chancellor. In the morning we sent a the GBM note to the Vice Chancellor saying this minimum condition is you have to be on the campus, you have to revoke the suspension, you have to withdraw the police cases. If you don't do this, we are not very sure how normalcy can be restored. This has been the UTA's position as well this morning.
To the credit of the Vice Chancellor, since he is not here, I must tell you that he said that he was advised to stay away since a law and order situation could arise. Yesterday we did see a BJP spokesperson's vehicle in fact being attacked. I'm going to go to Marika, who is doesn't have any affiliation with any of these student organizations, but you actually volunteered to be part of an information cell that was created today because you believe there is some kind of a propaganda going on even on social media which you need to counter.
See, for me as someone who isn't politically affiliated at all, I believe I couldn't just stand in the sidelines and let whatever was happening happen. I wanted to make sure that at least I was there. The media, along with various other organizations, they have misinterpreted so much of the information that we've been given, that they've been given, and I think there have been certain occurrences that have there have been many things that have come on the media.
React to what has happened on the campus. Did it make a difference whether Rohit was a Dalit or otherwise? This is a very, very tragic series of events that happened leading to his tragic death.
When I found out, it didn't matter to me whether he was a Dalit or not. As a part of this fraternity, I came here to support a student, and I believe that when he passed away, even before he passed away, an investigation was imperative. We can't do without that. He didn't, like many of us believe, he didn't just commit suicide. There was something that pushed him over the edge, and we need to find out what. We need to put those who we call the culprits. We need them to face the punishment that they deserve, and that is why I'm here. That is why I've been here since day one, trying to protest against a system that clearly isn't defending us anymore.
Is this about really interference in campus affairs of somebody, of the government, of authorities which are not supposed to get into an autonomous institution? And was Rohit being a Dalit integral to this entire debate that we are now having about a student who has had a very tragic end?
Uma, first of all, we are in the state of mourning still. Whole university is in the state of mourning, and our heads should hang in shame. The Dalit boy, as well as a student, a budding research scholar, was forced to take such an extreme step, which is unbelievable. And all these people seems to be using the rhetoric, and the theater is played, and they are all doing.
Who are you pointing fingers at?
No, I am pointing fingers at the BJP spokesperson, those who are trying to assassinate the character of this departed soul. They are saying that he is not a Dalit even. They are playing that politics. At the end of the day, they are also saying that no, minister is contradicting its own statements. First day she says that the universities are autonomous. We don't interfere. When 5 letters come out, then she says, oh, it is a regular process. I mean, come on, Smita Irani ji. Please correct your facts. First of all, what do you want to say? You are contradicting by yourself. Shame on these people. Shame on this government. Shame on BJP. And shame on this MHRD ministry who is playing a politics on a death of a budding scholar. And she doesn't know. She doesn't know until justice is not delivered. We are not going to be silent, and we will not revoke. We will stand here until our last breath. Let her know this thing.
Anger, of course, erupting on the campus, and the words of this Smriti Irani not serving in any way at all to put water on the kind of a fire that's burning here. HRD minister, of course, did say that even when a Congress MP Hanumant Rao had written, there were reminders that were sent. But the difference, of course, was that Hanumant Rao's letter did not really point to any organization nor call them anti-national, casteist, or even an extremist. Time now for a short break. We'll continue with a lot more on the issues that are raging in the minds of the people here. Time.